A new government report today shows consumer prices are cooling off, and it has Wall Street betting on an interest rate cut later this year. Alexis Christoforous has details from this new report.
Today, more relief on the inflation front. Consumer prices continue to cool off in June, possibly clearing the way for an interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve later this summer. Overall, inflation eased to 3% last month compared to a year ago. That's still above the Fed's 2% target, but a big improvement from the 9% peak 2 years ago. On a monthly basis, the cost of living fell 0.1%. It's welcome news for the Fed in its fight against high inflation. In testimony this week on Capitol Hill, Fed Chair Jerome Powell laying the groundwork for a rate cut.
The most recent inflation readings, however, have shown some modest further progress, and more good data would strengthen our confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%.
Americans now spending less for things like gasoline, airfares, and new and used cars. But despite improvement in overall inflation, the reality of high prices continues to stretch household budgets. Consumers are still paying more on rent, groceries, eating out, and services like car insurance. Americans now spending $195 more for the same goods and services than they were a year ago, and $386 more versus 2 years ago. But people's incomes on average are outpacing inflation, helping to absorb some of those higher costs. President Biden, facing the biggest challenge of his political career, was quick to praise what he called significant progress on inflation. But in a statement, the president said prices are still too high and once again called out large corporations to lower prices even further. Barring a surprise jump in future inflation reports, most economists believe the Fed will cut rates at its September meeting, making it cheaper to do things like pay off credit card debt and take out a mortgage. Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.